Welcome. Today we're talking about factor by grouping. It's kind of an introduction to the subject. Our goal today is to factor 4-term polynomials using the grouping method. Let's just get into it. So recall, we've done found the greatest common factor of binomials. So here we have our sample binomial 6x squared minus 7x. If I look at the first term, I got 6x squared. Second term, negative 7x. The coefficients, they do not have any common factors, but the variables do. So I'm going to factor out a common factor, negative x. And I'm going to write the leftovers inside the parentheses. So basically this is saying x times what gives me 6x squared? Well, it's going to be 6x. X times 6x is 6x squared minus x times what gives me negative 7x? Well, minus 7. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing, but now we're just going to have extra terms here. So what is grouping? Well, grouping is looking at a polynomial like this, n cubed plus n squared minus 5 times n minus 5, and trying to find two of the terms that have common factors. So what I'd like to do, some of these will already be set up for us. If I split it in half, I have 2 terms on the left and 2 terms on the right. See if I can find a common factor between n cubed and n squared. And I can find n squared in the leftover. N squared times what gives me n cubed? Well, that's n. N squared times what will give me n squared? That's just 1. Okay. And when I go to the other side, I have negative 5 times n minus 5. This one's a little tricky. It looks like they have negative 5 in common. So negative 5 times what gives me negative 5n? That's just going to be n. Negative 5 times what is negative 5? Again, plus 1. Now you'll notice that the terms inside the parentheses are exactly the same. This is our goal. This is what we want to see when we're factor by grouping. I'm going to rewrite my original polynomial as a product of 2 binomials. And so I'm going to have n squared minus 5 times n plus 1. So what you'll see is the terms outside the parentheses go together. That's one binomial here, n squared minus 5. And then the terms inside the parentheses just occur once here, because what's happening is this is really FOIL. Let's check our answer. Let's do first, so let's remember FOIL is first times outside times inside times less. So first, n squared times n is n cubed. And I'm going to color code this one. And then outside, n squared times 1 is just positive n squared. And then inside, negative 5 times n is negative 5n. And then last, negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. And this was our original polynomial. The most common mistake I'll see is from this step, I'll get n squared minus 5. Students will write this, and then they'll do n times n plus 1 times n plus 1, because they think they need to write this twice. They do not. You just write it one time. Let's get through the rest of these examples a little quicker. So I'm looking at my polynomial, 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 3. I have an x cubed and an x squared. There's a common factor there. I don't know what I have here, if anything, but let's figure it out. Let's split it down the middle. So I'm going to factor out an x squared, and I have 2x minus 3 is left over. X squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. Then I'm going to have, this is a tricky one. There's no common factor here, but every term has a common factor of 1. And so 1 times what gives me 2x? Well, that's 1 times 2x. And then 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And so I write my original polynomial as a product of 2 binomials, x squared plus 1. These guys go together. Okay. Times 2x minus 3. Sorry, I switched colors there. Let's write it. Final answer, x squared plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Another one, 2ab plus a squared plus 4b plus 2a. So this one has two different variables. But again, if we look, there's an a here and then also an a here. It's a squared. So I'm going to go ahead and split these down the middle. So a common factor of a to the 1. So I'm left with 2 times b plus a is the remainder once I factor an a out of both of those terms. Okay. Plus, it looks like here I have a common factor in the coefficients of 2. So once I factor 2 out of 4 times b, I'm left with 2 times b. Once I factor 2 out of 2a, I get just a. And so let's rewrite. Remember, these two go together. A plus 2. And then this one comes down here. Times 2b plus a. So I wrote my original polynomial, my 4-term polynomial, and now I wrote it as a product of 2 binomials. Last sample problem. 2xy minus 3x plus 2y squared minus 3 times y. So I have an x in both of these terms. I can just split it here. And because there's x to the first power in each one, I'm just going to factor that x out. And now that the x to the 1 has been removed from both of these terms, the leftovers go inside the parentheses. And I'm left with 2 times y minus 3. And here I have a y in each term to the 1 at least, so I can only take out a y to the 1. And what's left over is 2 times y minus 3. And again, I know that I'm doing this right because, or I'm factoring, these are factors, is because I have the same thing in both of these parentheses here. So when I rewrite my original polynomial as a product of 2 binomials, I get x plus y, parentheses, times 2y minus 3. Final answer. So all of our sample problems and our practice problems in the for our homework will be 4-term polynomials. We're going to look for a way to split the polynomial in half with 2 terms on the left and 2 terms on the right and factor each of these as if they are just binomials. Once I do that, I factor out the greatest common factor from each of these 2 terms, and then I write the leftovers inside the parentheses. Greatest common factor between these 2 terms, and then I write the leftovers, the quotient, in the parentheses. I know that I'm on the right path because the terms or the binomials inside these parentheses match. I rewrite my polynomial as a product of 2 binomials. These are the 2 factors that when I multiply them together, I get x cubed plus 3 times x squared plus 5 times x plus 15. If you're one of my students, the assignment will be the worksheet called Factoring Polynomials. Factor by grouping. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Good luck.